This is a story of the lost flight of Malaysia Airlines MH370, an unsolved mystery of modern aviation. Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 disappeared on March 8, 2014, while on a routine flight from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia to Beijing, China. What initially appeared a tragic aviation accident over the South China Sea grew more puzzling and mysterious by the day as no sign of the aircraft could be found. Over the coming days, the search for the missing plane expanded to the Strait of Malacca and the Bay of Bengal after it was revealed that Malaysian military radar had detected the plane passing westward over the Malay Peninsula, then turning northwestward toward the Bay of Bengal. But the expansion of the search area into the Bay of Bengal turned up no sign of the lost aircraft. Then, by March 15, 2014, it was revealed that data logged by the British satellite communications company Inmarsat indicated that MH370 had continued to fly for almost 6 hours after Malaysian military radar contact was lost. Shockingly, its route had taken it deep into the vastness of the southern Indian Ocean, far to the west of Australia. Thus the search turned to the southern Indian Ocean, with Australia taking the lead, but after a search of over 300,000 square kilometers of ocean surface, no sign of the aircraft could be found. The mysterious loss of flight MH370 set off a chain of events that still reverberates in the world of aviation and the hearts and minds of millions around the world. How could a cutting-edge modern airliner disappear without a trace? It seemed impossible in a world so steeped in technological marvels. Over the intervening 4+ years since MH370 vanished, an unprecedented amount of resources and advanced technologies have been brought to bear in the attempt to locate the resting place of the lost plane, but the obscuring properties of a vast ocean have proven to be a daunting foe. 20+ stray parts identified as belonging to MH370 have been discovered washed up along various shores in the western Indian Ocean, but they seem only to have added to the mystery and confusion. This confounding aviation puzzle has generated a number of hypotheses seeking to explain how events played out on that fateful day of March 8, 2014, and though having generated much heated speculation, none have proved helpful in finding the plane. In June of 2018, the Herculean effort put forth by the deep-sea research company Ocean Infinity in search of MH370 came to an end. After some 4 months of scanning thousands of kilometers of southern Indian Ocean seabed with cutting-edge autonomous underwater vehicles, in an area experts estimated that it was most likely MH370 went down, no sign of the lost plane could be found. What comes next is still uncertain, but hopefully some future effort to locate the lost flight will be successful. Humans are nothing if not tenacious. After all, we are still looking for Amelia Earhart's Lockheed Electra, some 81 years after it disappeared over the Pacific Ocean. Now, as we begin this deep dive into the mystery of MH370, let me confess that I am about as far from an aviation expert as you will ever find. But like so many, I love the challenge of a good mystery. So let's begin our foray into the mystery of MH370 with a look at the known facts surrounding the disappearance of flight MH370, and then see what we can glean from that information. Let's start with some basic background facts about flight MH370. The flight originated from the city of Kuala Lumpur on the Malaysian peninsula, departing the Kuala Lumpur International Airport early in the morning of March 8, 2014. Kuala Lumpur is located on the western side of the Malay Peninsula. The Kuala Lumpur International Airport was the 23rd busiest airport in the world as of 2017. The flight designated MH370 was a regularly scheduled flight operated by Malaysia Airlines that flew between Kuala Lumpur and Beijing, China. The MH370 aircraft was a Boeing 777-200ER, ER designating an extended range model, one of the most advanced passenger airliners in the world. The Boeing 777 assigned as Flight 370 was the 404th Boeing 777 produced and first flew on May 14, 2002, before being delivered to Malaysia Airlines on May 31, 2002. The pilot in charge was 53-year-old Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah with some 18,365 hours of flying time. The co-pilot was 27-year-old First Officer Farik Abdul Hamid with some 2,763 hours of flying time. Besides the two pilots, there were 10 other cabin crew members aboard. All of the 12 MH370 crew members were Malaysian citizens. The flight had 227 passengers aboard, representing 14 different nationalities. Let's now take a look at a timeline of events that marked the mysterious flight and loss of MH370. As we begin our look at a timeline for the flight of MH370, let me note that I will use Malaysia time as the reference time for events, Malaysia time being Coordinated Universal Time plus 8. The initial run-through of the timeline will be a basic bare-bones run-through. Later, we will go into greater depth on the most salient anomalies and attempt to fathom their importance to the ultimate loss of the flight and all aboard. Let's begin the timeline run-through. It will simply be a statement of events with some key points highlighted. Late on March 7, 2014, the pilot of MH370, Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah, signs in for flight duty for Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 at 2250 or 10:50 p.m. Malaysia time, about 1 hour and 52 minutes prior to takeoff. The co-pilot, First Officer Farik Abdul Hamid, signs in for flight duty aboard MH370 at 2315 or 11:15 p.m. At 0000 Malaysia time, the MH370 Boeing 777 aircraft's SDU, or Satellite Data Unit, logs onto the Inmarsat satellite communications network. This SDU will become the crucial factor in tracking flight MH370 into the southern Indian Ocean. At 0027, Kuala Lumpur Air Traffic Control gives MH370 clearance to push back from its boarding gate. At 0040, Air Traffic Control gives MH370 clearance for takeoff. At 0042, flight MH370 takes off from runway 32R at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport bound for Beijing, China. At 004253, Air Traffic Control gives MH370 clearance to climb to flight level 180 or 18,000 feet and proceed to waypoint Igari. Waypoint Igari being an aviation GPS waypoint, these waypoints being used as a standard routing scheme for aviation worldwide. At 0046, MH370 is transferred from the airport's air traffic control to Lumpur Radar Air Traffic Control, both the Airport Air Traffic Control and the Lumpur Radar Air Traffic Control being based at the Kuala Lumpur Area Control Center. At 0046, Lumpur Air Traffic Control gives MH370 clearance to climb to flight level 250 or 25,000 feet. At 0050, Lumpur Air Traffic Control gives MH370 clearance to climb to flight level 350 or 35,000 feet. At 0101, Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah informs Lumpur Air Traffic Control that MH370 has reached flight level 350. At 010748, the final data transmission from MH370 using the ACAR satellite data system, ACARS being an acronym for Aircraft Communications Addressing and Reporting System, is made. Among the data logged is the total remaining fuel, which was 43,800 kilograms or 96,000 pounds. With this last data transmission at 010748 Malaysia time, a curious time span begins, ending at 020341, during which it seems the satellite communications link is lost. How and why this data link was lost and then reestablished has become a crucial point of debate. At 0107, Captain Shaw confirms to Lumpur Air Traffic Control that MH370 is flying at flight level 350. At 011930, Lumpur Air Traffic Control instructs the crew of MH370 to contact Ho Chi Minh Air Traffic Control as MH370 is about to leave the Kuala Lumpur Flight Information Region of Malaysia and enter the Ho Chi Minh Flight Information Region of Vietnam.
Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night.
MH370 is passing waypoint Agari as Captain Shaw replies to Lumpur Air Traffic Control with,
Good night, Malaysian 370.
This is the final voice contact with MH370. At 012113, the position symbol for flight MH370 disappears from air traffic control secondary radar as captured by Kuala Lumpur Air Traffic Control. Malaysia Flight 370's transponder is no longer responding to secondary radar interrogation. Malaysian military radar, functioning in a standard defense posture, picks up the aircraft which turns right, then almost immediately makes a turn left until it is traveling southwesterly back toward the Malaysian peninsula. At 0130, Ho Chi Minh Air Traffic Control, unable to contact MH370, requests the pilots of a commercial flight in close proximity to MH370 to attempt contact with Malaysia Flight 370. The pilots attempt contact with MH370, but only hear mumbling and static in reply. At 0137, an expected half-hourly ACARS data transmission from MH370 is not received. At 0138, Ho Chi Minh Air Traffic Control contacts Kuala Lumpur Air Traffic Control. Ho Chi Minh informs Kuala Lumpur that verbal contact was not established with MH370 and MH370 had disappeared from its radar screens near waypoint Bitad. Kuala Lumpur replies to Ho Chi Minh that MH370 did not return to the Kuala Lumpur frequency after passing waypoint Agari. At 0146, as concern rises, Ho Chi Minh contacts Kuala Lumpur to further elaborate that secondary radar contact with MH370 had been established near waypoint Agari but lost near waypoint Bitad, and that verbal contact with MH370 was never established. At 0157, Ho Chi Minh Air Traffic Control contacts Kuala Lumpur Air Traffic Control again to indicate that they were unable to contact MH370 despite attempts on many frequencies or through radio contact attempts by aircraft in close proximity to MH370's supposed location. At 0203, Malaysia Airlines Dispatch Center, notified of the concern for MH370, sends a message to the cockpit crew instructing them to contact Ho Chi Minh Air Traffic Control, but there is no response from MH370. Between 0203 and 0205, a ground-to-air ACARS data request transmitted from the ground station multiple times goes unanswered by MH370's Satellite Data Unit, or SDU. Between 0203 to 0218, confusion begins to arise between the Malaysia Airlines Flight Operations Center and the Air Traffic Control Centers in Malaysia and Vietnam, as the Malaysia Airlines Flight Center indicates they are able to exchange signals with MH370, which is now in Cambodian airspace. Ho Chi Minh replies that MH370's flight plan did not call for it to enter Cambodian airspace. Ho Chi Minh contacted Cambodia, which had no information or contact with MH370. At 0222, the last primary radar contact with MH370 is made by Malaysian military radar approximately 10 nautical miles beyond aviation GPS waypoint, MECAR. This becomes the last certain contact with MH370. The timeline now turns to the more tenuous satellite pings or handshakes to track the last hours of flight MH370. As we begin this final section of the timeline, let me note that the satellite pings or handshakes, as they stand alone, are insufficient to accurately track the flight path of MH370. These pings offer up a series of data points that can be used in concert with other known flight parameters to extrapolate a possible flight path, this possible flight path itself being vulnerable to human miscalculation. That being said, there are two important points of information that can be gathered from the pings. One, the time the plane remained flying after loss of contact by Malaysian military radar. Two, that the plane continued to fly along a route that took it deep into the southern Indian Ocean. Let's now resume the timeline. At 0225, approximately 3 minutes after passing out of Malaysian military radar space, a log-on request, sometimes referred to as the first ping, is sent by MH370 via its satellite data link to the Inmarsat satellite network. MH370's SDU or satellite data unit, which has been unresponsive for a period of anywhere from 22 to 68 minutes, has suddenly come back online. How and why the satellite data unit went offline and then came back online has become a crucial point of debate in the disappearance of MH370. From 0234 to 0330, confusion arises over the state of MH370 as Malaysia Airlines Flight Operations Center informs Kuala Lumpur Air Traffic Control that based on signals from MH370, the Malaysia Operations Center has the aircraft's location as being over northern Vietnam. Puzzled by the information from Malaysia Airlines, Kuala Lumpur and Ho Chi Minh Air Traffic Control Centers confer and then query Chinese Air Traffic Control, which replies that it has had no contact with Malaysia Flight 370. After some internal rethink, Malaysia Airlines Operations Center comes to realize that their MH370 flight information is based on a flight path projection and not on real-time flight data. They inform Kuala Lumpur Air Traffic Control that they have erroneously been referencing a flight projection model for MH370's location, not real-time data. At 0341, MH370's satellite data unit responds to an hourly log-on interrogation by the Inmarsat satellite network. This is referred to as the second ping. At 0441, MH370's satellite data unit responds affirmative to the third ping by the Inmarsat satellite network. At 0541, the fourth ping or handshake occurs between MH370 and the Inmarsat satellite network. At 0630, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 misses its scheduled arrival time at Beijing Capital International Airport. At 0632, the Kuala Lumpur Aeronautical Rescue Coordination Center is activated. At 0641, the fifth hourly ping occurs between MH370 and the Inmarsat satellite network. At 0713, a ground-to-aircraft telephone call placed by Malaysia Airlines to MH370 via the aircraft satellite link goes unanswered. At 0724, Malaysia Airlines issues a press statement announcing that Flight 370 is missing. At 0811, the sixth ping, the last successful automated hourly handshake, takes place between MH370 and the Inmarsat satellite network. 7 hours and 29 minutes have now elapsed since MH370 took off from the Kuala Lumpur International Airport. At 081929, the seventh ping takes place as the aircraft sends an unscheduled log-on request to the Inmarsat satellite network. Investigators into the disappearance of MH370 believe this seventh ping, a partial handshake or log-on request, occurred as a result of electrical power interruption caused by engine flameout due to fuel exhaustion. Under ordinary flight conditions, the aircraft's engines power the electrical system. Thus, engine shutdown initiated a power interruption that took all aircraft avionics offline, including the SDU or satellite data unit. This engine shutdown, precipitated by fuel exhaustion, initiated the power-up of MH370's backup electric generator. As electrical power was restored to the avionics systems, the SDU rebooted, and as per its software program, sent a log-on request to the Inmarsat satellite network this being the 7th ping. At 081937, following a response from the ground station at Perth, Australia to MH370's logon request, MH370's SDU replies with a logon acknowledgement message at 081937.443. This is the final transmission from MH370. At 0915, MH370 does not respond to an hourly automated handshake attempted by the Inmarsat satellite network. In the dawning hours of March 8, 2014, the long and arduous search for lost flight MH370 begins. In episode 2 of my series, Lost Flight MH370, we will begin our look into the anomalies that mark the flight timeline. Is it possible to construct an algorithm that leads to a reasonable answer as to what happened aboard Malaysia Flight 370, leading to its disappearance and the loss of all aboard? This is the question we will seek to answer.